Elizabeth Taylor. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Elizabeth Taylor was the epitome of Hollywood glamour, an icon known for her stunning beauty and elegance. But in 1966, she made a shocking choice that stunned fans and critics alike. For her role as the bitter, aging Martha in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Taylor willingly gained over 30 pounds to portray the character with raw realism. She was just 34 at the time, playing a woman nearly 20 years older, buried in emotional turmoil and alcohol. Gone was the image of the sparkling screen goddess. Instead, she embraced wrinkles, weight, and a broken spirit. This wasn't vanity. It was devotion to craft. Elizabeth wanted Martha to feel real, messy, and tragic. And she nailed it. The performance earned her a second Academy Award and proved she wasn't just a pretty face. She was a fearless actress willing to risk her image for art. Taylor's transformation remains one of the boldest physical sacrifices in old Hollywood, shattering stereotypes and redefining what it meant to be a leading lady. Marlon Brando, Mutiny on the Bounty. By the time Marlon Brando took on the role of Fletcher Christian in Mutiny on the Bounty, 1962, he was already a Hollywood legend. But during filming, Brando's transformation didn't go quite as expected. It became infamous. On location in Tahiti, he became enamored with the local lifestyle and cuisine. What began as immersive preparation soon spiraled into overindulgence. Brando reportedly gained over 40 pounds during the shoot, altering his appearance so drastically that costume designers and directors were forced to adjust everything mid-production. The studio was furious. Scenes had to be res-hot, delays piled up, and tension soared. His performance, though still magnetic, was overshadowed by behind-the-scenes chaos and his ballooning weight. Brando's lack of restraint mirrored his rebellious spirit, a trait both admired and criticized. His physical change wasn't a calculated artistic choice like others. It was spontaneous, even defiant. But it revealed something deeper. Brando wasn't interested in pleasing the studio system. He was living on his own terms, even if it meant risking everything. That unpredictable nature became part of his myth and his downfall. Burt Lancaster, the Birdman of Alcatraz. Burt Lancaster was known for his athletic build, broad shoulders, and commanding screen presence, a former circus acrobat turned Hollywood leading man. But in 1962's The Birdman of Alcatraz, he shocked audiences with a transformation that stripped him of his physical power and replaced it with haunting restraint. To portray the real-life prisoner Robert Stroud, Lancaster lost significant weight, allowing his body to appear thin, pale, and confined, just like the man who spent decades in solitary confinement. Gone was a vibrant, muscular star, replaced by a gaunt, brooding figure who barely moved yet radiated intensity. Lancaster's physical shift wasn't just about losing weight. It was about embodying a soul caged for life. He trained his voice to sound weary, flattened his posture, and dulled his expressions to capture the psychological decay of long-term isolation. The result was one of his most powerful performances, subtle, haunting, and completely devoid of vanity. Lancaster's transformation proved he wasn't afraid to erase his own image to tell a deeper truth. It earned him an Oscar nomination and a place among the most fearless actors of his era. Audrey Hepburn, The Nun Story. Audrey Hepburn was the embodiment of grace, elegant, refined, and always effortlessly chic. But in The Nun Story, 1959, she shed more than just her iconic fashion sense. She stripped away her worldly beauty to inhabit the soul of Sister Luke, a woman torn between duty and desire. Already naturally slender, Hepburn took her transformation further, reportedly dropping additional weight to match the gaunt, restrained appearance of a cloistered nun. It wasn't about glamour. It was about authenticity. Audrey lived in a convent for days, studying the nuns' quiet routines and emotional discipline. Her frame became more fragile, her movements minimal, her expressions subdued. The physical transformation enhanced her performance, revealing the internal war of a woman sacrificing her identity for faith. Critics were stunned. Gone was the sparkling ingenue from Roman Holiday. In her place stood a woman spiritually unraveling and physically withering. Hepburn's performance was a revelation, earning her an Oscar nomination and proving she was more than just a fashion icon. She became a vessel for storytelling, unafraid to disappear into a role, and the Nun's story remains one of her most haunting triumphs. Ingrid Bergman, Anastasia. After a 7-year exile from Hollywood due to a scandalous affair, Ingrid Bergman made a thunderous comeback in Anastasia, 1956. But it wasn't just her reputation she had to rebuild. To portray the mysterious woman who might be the lost Russian Duchess, Bergman underwent a subtle yet powerful transformation, both emotionally and physically. She shed her luminous, classic Hollywood image and embraced a more fragile, uncertain presence that mirrored the psychological weight of her character. Bergman reportedly lost weight to appear more gaunt and worn, a reflection of a woman living on the edge of survival and sanity. Her posture was tense, her eyes constantly searching, her face hollowed with trauma. It was a delicate, controlled performance that required stripping back every glamorous instinct she'd once relied on. What emerged was a raw vulnerability that gripped audiences and critics alike. The transformation was not just physical, it was a rebirth. Bergman's haunting performance earned her an Academy Award and marked her redemption in the eyes of Hollywood. In Anastasia, she didn't just act, she bared her soul, proving she was stronger and more captivating than ever. Alec Guinness, The Bridge on the River Kwai. Alec Guinness was already respected in British cinema, but The Bridge on the River Kwai, 1957, elevated him to global stardom and demanded a transformation that tested both his body and psyche. To become Colonel Nicholson, a proud British officer imprisoned in a brutal Japanese POW camp, Guinness had to abandon his refined, composed persona and slip into the skin of a man consumed by military pride and obsession. He lost a considerable amount of weight to mirror the malnourished state of a prisoner, allowing his cheeks to hollow and his frame to appear worn and wiry. But it was more than just weight. Guinness mastered the subtle physical quirks of a man who clung to discipline as a lifeline. His stiff posture, sunken eyes, and clenched jaw told a deeper story of delusion and dignity in a world stripped of humanity. His transformation was haunting, and his performance unforgettable. It won him the Academy Award for Best Actor and solidified his reputation as a chameleon of the screen. Alec Guinness didn't just play a role. He became a symbol of inner conflict in the face of madness. Ray Milland, The Lost Weekend. Ray Milland stunned the world in The Lost Weekend, 1945, delivering one of the most raw and disturbing performances of his career. To portray Don Burnham, a writer spiraling into the depths of alcoholism, Milland didn't just act drunk. He became a man visibly unraveling. Determined to depict addiction with brutal honesty, he drastically altered his appearance. He lost weight to appear worn and sunken, giving his face a gaunt, haunted quality that matched his character's mental collapse. Milland immersed himself in the role, even spending time in alcohol rehabilitation wards to study the effects of withdrawal and dependency. His body language grew twitchy, erratic, and desperate, his eyes constantly scanning for the next drink, his posture slouched under invisible weight. This wasn't a glamorized version of addiction. It was horrifyingly real, and it changed the way Hollywood approached such topics forever. The transformation was both physical and psychological, and it paid off. Milland's performance won him the Academy Award for Best Actor, cementing his legacy as one of the first stars to fully sacrifice charm for truth. The Lost Weekend remains a landmark in cinema and a personal triumph of fearless acting. Charlton Heston, Ben-Hur. Charlton Heston's role in Ben-Hur 1959 wasn't just a performance. It was a full-body commitment to one of the most demanding roles in cinema history. To portray Judah Ben-Hur, a betrayed prince turned slave and charioteer, Heston underwent a transformation that tested the limits of physical endurance. He trained relentlessly for months, sculpting his body into the image of a hardened warrior. His muscular build wasn't just for show. It had to withstand punishing stunt work and intense action sequences, especially the iconic chariot race that remains one of the greatest ever filmed. Heston lost weight to look more lean and rugged during the slave ship scenes, then bulked back up to display strength and resilience for the arena. His body told the story of a man broken and rebuilt by fate. Every scar, every sinew added authenticity to the journey. The result was legendary. Ben-Hur won 11 Academy Awards, including Best Actor for Heston. His transformation elevated the character into mythic status and proved he wasn't just acting. He was embodying the sheer will of survival and vengeance.